Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our first call for Oikos Camp 2022. We'll be doing a few of these to showcase some cool leaders in the space of sustainable finance and to demonstrate a little bit about their knowledge. And I'm very excited to have Karen Lin with us today, Karen was part of camp last year when we were in Italy. And so she's been very grateful to come and spend a little time from her vacation and holidays to meet with us while we're here in Barcelona for the 2022 camp. So Karen is working in sustainable finance consulting at Deloitte, and she's been doing this for 3 years now. And I'm just really excited to have somebody who's a young career person who's like really making a space within this. And you were also part of Oikos. So
Yes.
Karen, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I'm Karen. I'm American, 29 years old now. I've been in France for almost 5 years. I decided to come to France because I did a study abroad during college where I had the opportunity to teach English in the south of France. And so this experience made me start thinking about a more international career and think about pursuing graduate school in France. And so I applied to edX Business School and I was accepted. Even before coming to edX Business School, which is in Lille, France, the north of France, I was interested in sustainability, but I didn't have any experience. So I wanted to know kind of what were the different career paths, what are the different nuances between the jobs. And so once I was at edX, I found a student association called Oikos, which was a chapter of a larger global organization led by students whose goal is to integrate sustainability into the curriculum at their schools, whether it's in business or economics. And I was like, sign me up. This association really made me discover a lot of different people from different countries and their approach to sustainability. But I also was able to discover different careers by talking to different sustainability professionals who are actually working in their sectors. I had to try to bring them to speak at our school. And also there were a lot of international events, as you know. There's Future Lab, there's different working groups through which you can connect to them virtually. And it was just a really great opportunity for me to discover a lot in a short amount of time. And it was through this association that I think I actually found my first internship in sustainable finance. It was somebody in my chapter who sent me the job description, and so I applied and interviewed, and it worked. And this was in 2018. This first internship was at an extra financial ratings agency. And at this internship, I worked in business development. And I had the opportunity to attend a lot of different events, such as the World Investment Forum at the United Nations in Geneva, the OECD Forum on Green Finance in Paris, and it really allowed me to be directly immersed in the ecosystem in Europe, and it was a great experience. And yeah, so for my second internship, I really wanted a role where I could actually do the ESG analysis myself. Sorry, my headphones are a bit. Okay. I wanted to do the ESG analysis myself. So like, what did it mean to actually analyze ESG factors on a company? And I found this role at a strategy consulting firm in Paris. And so I spent another 6 months here. And for each analysis, we had to use like industry frameworks such as the Sustainability Accounting Standards, the SASB, or the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And it was really concrete. We had to identify the different ESG risks for different sectors like chemicals industry or aviation or pharmaceuticals, and also identify the areas of improvement for each company. So it was really interesting for me. And during these 2 internships, I got to really think about what do I actually want to do, and I realized that it was really in sustainable finance for financial actors that I wanted to keep working. So for my specialization master's, I decided to specialize in finance so I could get this financial background that I needed to continue down this career. Uh, and then I went back to Lille for my specialization year, and I graduated. I started an internship at BNP Paribas Capital Partners for my stage de fin d'études in French. And what this means is like internship of the end of studies. And so I spent a year at BNP Paribas where I was working as an ESG analyst and basically trying to integrate sustainability into their investment policies and strategy. So yeah, and today, since January, I am a senior consultant at Deloitte Sustainability France, where I'm working in the sustainable finance team. Today, I'm working on a mission where I am analyzing the extra financial criteria that are part of the European Green Taxonomy, which basically gives criteria that helps to identify which assets are green in different sectors. And I'm specializing right now on the sector of energy and infrastructure. So like what makes energy green, what are the different factors, and for example, in real estate, it has to have a certain energy performance certificate of A or B for it to be recognized as green by the taxonomy. That's just an example of a mission I'm working on right now, but the variety of missions is really, really diverse, and I feel like I'm learning a lot. So it's really great. I'm really happy where I am right now, and it's really Oikos that brought me here. So where I am now, so I'm really grateful. Yeah. I'll let you
Thanks, Karen.
guys ask questions now, just for this
Yeah.
part.
Thanks, Karen. It was really cool to kind of get like this map of different roles that you've been able to go through, from like working in the ratings agency, understanding ESG analysis and looking at the frameworks, and now working in consulting and helping financial actors integrate the advice that you're giving around the EU taxonomy. I think it's also very useful that you highlighted how this EU taxonomy is setting up a definition of what we'll be able to consider green, and then
Yeah.
that will allow us to invest in those assets and in those businesses that are green.
Yes.
And it's very hotly debated, right? Of like what counts as green.
Yeah.
But your job is mostly on the other side of helping companies understand the regulation in place now. They don't,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you get into like conversations with them about like how to change their business, or like how do they help to get things to be categorized as green?
Yes, I mean, actually, my job starting in September is basically to present these criteria in workshops with the client, which is like a big bank, um, and I'm basically talking to these bankers who have to collect these criteria, these data, from their investments, and sometimes it's very difficult to access this data, um, so we kind of have to help them figure out what data do they actually have to collect at the ground level, um, and what kind of indicators are actually feasible for them to collect, because sometimes it's not even possible for them to collect this data. Um, and sometimes there are certain things that are left for interpretation in the regulation, um, on purpose, I think, to allow the market to define themselves what the definitions are. So that's really interesting, and that leaves a lot of things open for debate. Um, and yeah, we're always trying to like, because we're there as giving expertise, we're trying to kind of push the needle and help them understand what are the different risks or sustainability risks at hand, and trying to help them understand that it's possible to get this data, even if it's not perfect right now. We have to start, and then with time, like right now, maybe we'll be collecting proxies, which are like substitutes for the data, and then later on, the data will refine itself and improve, right? But yeah, sometimes it's a challenge, because sometimes we're working with clients who have been doing things a certain way for a long time, and they just like don't want to change, or they don't think it's like possible at all to collect this data, which they're completely new to collecting. So yeah, sometimes it's difficult.
Well, that's what they hired you for, Karen, to make it easy and then presentable. So I know you'll do well. Um, I know Luke and a few of us are also super interested in like, how did you find these roles and some tips? Like you mentioned connecting through Oikos community, you mentioned going and participating in these forums, and you mentioned also like finding job links through your
Yeah.
community. But Luke, did you want to ask a question around that?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Karen. Thank you. Really, really cool career path that you've had. I was wondering, now you have more experience and knowledge of the industry, what would you recommend to someone like myself who's wanting to get into the sustainable finance as a career? What resources could you point towards, or who should I be speaking to? Where would you begin looking? What would be your advice?
Okay, so I think as a student, like try to be as active as possible and join a student association related to sustainability if you have one at your school. Try to seek out professors or classes that will teach you more about this sector. For example, at my school, there was a professor who's actually like written like a lot of different things on sustainable finance. He's considered an expert in the sector. So I found him and I took him as my advisor for my master project, which is kind of like a thesis, but a bit shorter. And I did my master project on a sustainable finance subject, which was the basically the trend of biodiversity investment products. I would say learn as much as possible and try to find your niche in this, because in sustainable finance there's so many different subjects, right? So try as early as possible to learn as much about sustainable finance as possible, but like on the sustainability side, but also on the financial side. So you kind of have to like learn about the different financial terms as well, and yeah, try just like learn by doing, I think. Try to narrow down the jobs that you're targeting. Because if you just say like I'm open to everything, it's going to be hard for somebody to help you find exactly what you need. It's too broad, basically. I think it helps to talk to people already working in these jobs. What I did was I literally just like cold messaged people on LinkedIn who I thought were interesting, and sometimes I would like set up a call with them and talk to them about like literally 10 minutes. Like what's interesting about your job, like what are you working now, what are you working on now. There's just like so many resources, like free resources that you can take advantage of. Find other students, find allies. So if you're at school, find other students who are also interested in sustainable finance, and like and together you can kind of like to extend each other different opportunities that you may find, or different even resources online that you can share. I think that's really important. That's how an association can help as well. If there's oikos at your school, then that's a perfect opportunity. Yeah, just like start networking early as well, which goes along with what I said. Finding other students and finding professors or people around you that you can have access to these resources. And if you're out of school, you can also replace these opportunities by finding webinars to attend. If there's a networking section, you can attend master classes or go to networking events in your area. Basically, just try to meet people who are actually working in this area. And yeah, this is basically the preparation part. If I can give some skills that you need to develop to get in these roles, I think maybe like research like the different frameworks that are used to analyze ESG risks per sector. I think sectorial knowledge is something that is really, really valued in sustainability finance. Even in my team, they're always asking like, oh, is there like a chemical, like is there an expert on who knows what are the sustainability risks in the chemicals industry, or in energy right now, like this, I'm really needing this right now. So sectorial knowledge is really valued. So find a sector that you're really interested in, and maybe do research on what are the sustainability issues in this sector. Yeah.
Thank you. That was really, really useful, very extensive.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. Thank you. We will have to like put in some more resources for our toolkit for other students to learn around these buckets. So you gave us a little work for us to put together on camp. Karen,
Great.
I hope you have time for one last question from Nino. She's going to make it quick
Okay.
before we
Yeah.
let you get back to holidays.
Sure.
Yes, thanks, Karen, for interesting presentation. I'm also curious because I also have traditional knowledge in finance and somehow want to transfer this to sustainable finance. And could you please highlight any specific link in your career path, which was was core in terms of sustainable finance? For instance, you also mentioned about the ESG experience, and could you please tell me if there is like specific or something that could be highlighted?
Okay. I think my first internship in consulting at Andefi, which is like the strategy consulting firm in Paris that I worked at, I think that was probably the experience that made me say, okay, I'm definitely going to keep working in this direction. And why? Because at this internship, I really was able to see what are the concrete criteria. It goes back to me saying sectoral knowledge is really important. It helped me, it allowed me to really see what are the concrete criteria that we have to analyze per sector for the different companies. And it also like made me discover all the different frameworks that exist to help analyze sustainability on these different sectors. And also like what are like how to talk to financial actors about these subjects, and how exactly do they integrate sustainability, because sometimes it's really hard to know like what exactly are they doing in their to integrate it into their investment strategy. Are they doing like due diligence, or are they just like applying exclusions? Like, are they excluding certain investments in different sectors, like fossil fuels, for example? Is that how they integrate sustainability? So like answering that question, I think helped me see exactly like what the future is in in this career path. Yeah, I think that's my answer.
Thank
Does
you
that
very much.
answer your question? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Karen. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us and share your knowledge. And then also your career advice. I think this will be very useful for quite a few students. Thank you so much.
Yes, no problem. And yeah, don't hesitate to even just like send me messages and stuff. I love answering questions and helping people, because I remember when I was in your situation just a couple years ago. So all the best to all of you, and good luck on your journey for sustainable finance.
Thank you so much. Well, it's the end of our first session. Everyone take care.
Bye.